when you were hired way back in the beginning, you talked about coming here with scars, right? The past wasn't what you want it to be. You're about to finish with a top 10 defense. I'm just curious what that means to you and maybe what you've been able to implement and learn from those scars in the past to have the success you've had on defense this year.
Yeah, the I'm not real comfortable. I guess the best way for me to answer that is that the only thing I truly care about is the success of this team, and um, I've bragged on these guys specifically on our side of the ball on defense. I've bragged on these guys because of the way they've worked and prepared and just attacked every single day, since we started this thing. So, um, as a full team, of course, I'm happy with our team success. And, as long as we're winning games and finding ways to win games and doing our part, that's really all I care about. And, I hope I'm answering that question well enough for you, but I'm just happy with everything that's taken place for obviously us as a team, but all of our players that have worked so hard and prepared and just really attacked this season. I'm excited for them.
Wes?
Hey Joe, how's it going?
Hey Wes, what's up, man?
Not too much. Hey, I wanted to ask you a little bit branching off of that with your secondary. For all the different things that have happened this year, beginning obviously with losing Jair when you did,
Yeah.
just what have you thought of the production, specifically at the cornerback position of how that group has sort of come together, whether it was Rasul coming in or Eric stepping up or
Yeah.
even Shannon there. What have you thought of how that group has performed as a whole?
Well, I mean, they've been definitely resilient. I mean, we've had a bunch of lineup changes, and I think anytime that you lose, a player like Jair, but even when you add into the fact, losing Z, because again, the DB's best friend is, a great rush and a great unit up front. So, but again, just to kind of talk about the demeanor of the entire group, obviously specifically the DB room, but just the entire group is that, no one's ever really fretted or worried about, who's not up or who's injured or who can't play this week. We've attacked every single week just the same way. And, when they break the huddle as one of the 11, they're one of our starters and they've done a great job, But again, I would be remiss to, in answering that question, not mention the job that Coach Gray's done, that, Ryan Downard's done, in addition to, the great job that Smash and Savage have done as the leaders in that back end, and really just, taking along a young, Eric Stokes, taking along, when Rasul came in here, no one knew who he was, but they welcomed him. They helped bring him along. They helped get him up to speed. And all those guys from top to bottom, when they've had opportunities to make plays, they've cashed in on those opportunities, and it's been great.
Mike Clemens?
Joe,
Hey, Mike.
hi Joe. This game to me, it seems like, and where you are in your season, there's a great opportunity in that third and fourth quarter to play some younger players that maybe you'd like to see get some snaps. When I look at the season, after the Whitney Merciless injury, which was huge, you've got a lot of snaps from guys like Garvin and Henry Black and TJ and all that. So
Yeah.
You've had depth this season and still
Tipa,
won.
Tipa as an outside linebacker stepped in and done a great job. I mean, it's you listed a few guys. I mean, it's countless with the amount of guys that have had to come in and whether it be long-term roles or just in the moment week to week roles. But that's the thing, guys. I mean, when you really look at it, it's a little crazy this year because of the whole COVID thing when you got guys in and out, but an NFL football season's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I mean, it is a grind. It's long, And, through the course of the season, there's going to be guys that get banged up, short term. There's guys that, get banged up, and, you lose a Jair Alexander for almost a whole season. You lose a Za'Darius for a whole season. And that's the thing where you got to rely on, your depth. You got to rely on, I think we have an amazing group of assistant coaches that, coach the heck out of those guys and prepare them. And, when they get their opportunity, they being the player, when they get an opportunity to go in, they're ready to roll. So it's a testament, obviously to the players doing a great job, but the coaches as well, getting them ready and prepared, because we've had a lot of lineup changes, and guys have just gone in and played their tails off. So it's been exciting.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Jace, what's up, man?
So you've been in this league a long time, and most of the faces that I see on here have been covering the league for a long time, even Wes at this point. I feel like when I have seen guys have down years, that a lot of times they never bounce back. They kind of just keep this downward trend, and then you don't hear from them again. And obviously Preston did not have his greatest year last year after having a really good 19.
Yeah.
You know him better than anybody around here. What were you thinking about him as you took the job, having the history with him? And then what do you think of what he's done this year, bouncing back the way he has from last year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I truly love Preston Smith. I mean, he's we've always had a great relationship, and I think I've stood here at this podium and told you guys many times, there's when if you play or coach in this business long enough, you're gonna have some highs, you're gonna have some lows. It's gonna happen, and I'm just the main things that I'm most proud of with Preston, again, knowing him like I know him, because I knew him when he was a little snot-nosed rookie when he came into this league. But just seeing where he's come from and seeing the maturity, not only just, obviously you always hope that people as they get older, they mature and just, do things correctly all the time. But just everything that Preston's done, even away from football, like I've told you guys, he's gotten married, he's become a father, and he's just matured. He's become, it puts a smile on my face when, he pulls the defense up and gives them a message, which he does quite often, and then goes and backs up what he's said and, how he's challenged the defense. He goes out and backs it up with his play. So those are the things that I'm really, I'm just proud for Preston, because he's really worked his tail off, and, Preston's always had the talent. He's got incredibly God-given ability, and he's always had the talent. And the thing I'm probably most proud of is how hard he's played this year. He has really played with really maximum effort all year long. And when you have a guy that has an incredible skill set, you have a guy that is as talented as he is, and then he goes out and plays his tail off, play in and play out, the end result is, usually really good. And again, just to give credit to Mike Smith, I mean, he's done a phenomenal job with that entire room, but I couldn't be more happy and more proud, and just Preston's done a great job for us this year, man.
Rob Domofsky.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Rob.
Speaking of Preston, he was in here earlier, and he was telling us about how early in the offseason, when you first got the job and he first got together with the guys, he told those guys, hey, you're going to love Joe. He listens. You can go talk to him. How much, and I don't know if you knew that he did any of this, but how important was that, do you think, for him to be able to kind of tell the guys a little bit about you, and for them, to kind of take to you early on?
Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate that Preston did that, but I do think anytime that you come into, it's just like you guys in your line of business. If when you go into a new job, a new setting, it always is nice when you do have at least one familiar face. And like I said, Preston and I, we spent 2 years together, his first 2 years in the league. So, he's been great. He really has. And I appreciated him saying those things. But, that I think that, again, falls in line with, the leadership qualities that Preston is really, at least in the 5 years that we were separated from Washington to here, those are the things that I've really, his play obviously is really good, but the thing that's been the coolest thing for me to witness and see is just his leadership qualities have just, taken off, the older he's gotten, the more experience he's got in this league.
Mark Daniels.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
What's up, Mark?
Nothing. I know all your focus is on this week, but I just wanted to kind of ask, going into the bye, how you start compiling, cut-ups of what could be 4 or 5 potential offenses that you're going to have to start planning for.
Yeah, I think I know everyone's different. As a coordinator, I've never been able to, think of anything other than in the moment. I know as a position coach or as assistant, you can kind of sometimes work ahead. I know, all of our assistants usually do that later in the week. They start kind of doing some prep work for the next opponent. Obviously, the thing that's hard in this situation is that, we truly have, in a normal week, you just look on the schedule and you say, oh, okay, we got Team B next week. I can start doing a little prep work. We truly have no idea who that's going to be. So, the nice thing is next week, when we get into the bye week, we'll try to maybe play the percentages and say, okay, these 2 or 3 teams are probably, the ones, and you can start doing a little leg work. But, in the playoffs, when you truly don't know, especially when you have that first round bye, that you don't know who the seed that's going to be that you're going to play, it's hard, because then you start chasing a bunch of ghosts, and you obviously can't prepare for 3 or 4 teams. So next week when we get there, we'll try to do a little extra work. But honestly, guys, we're I mean this by all means, we're not even, we're in the moment right now. We have momentum right now, and our guys are in a great place, and truly our only motivation and energy is towards the Detroit Lions and this week.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Joe, a couple weeks ago we were talking about where your defense was at, and you said, you'd had a couple of moments where you did something as a group that you hadn't done for most of the season and have some bonehead plays, I think was the phrase you used. Look, I know the Vikings they didn't have Cousins, et cetera, but do you feel like you're trending back in the right direction now, and you've kind of solved some of the pieces of the puzzle that maybe you felt like you guys weren't quite getting to fit properly for those couple of weeks?
Yeah, I get it. I understand how, you're only as good as your last performance. And, I was just proud of the way our guys really attacked. Really, I mean, our guys, you guys probably get tired of me saying it. They've attacked every week. We truly have not had a bad week. Sometimes, in a long season, you look back on a week where you didn't play well, and you're like, yeah, shoot, I knew that on Wednesday. We came out and didn't have a good practice. Our guys, from a consistency standpoint, they've been warriors all year. But specifically last week, I thought our guys they came to work on Wednesday last week and were really locked in and really excited to go out and play. And they didn't even get into the fact, it actually the Kirk thing happened. If I remember right last week, I think we found out on the way out to practice on Friday that Kirk had gotten the negative test or the positive test, I should say. So, but regardless, I was just proud of the way our guys showed up, and it was classic Green Bay. You know, it was cold. It was a night game, and our guys didn't even flinch. They didn't think anything of it except let's go attack, let's tackle, let's get off blocks, and they did a great job. So it fired me up. But I'm usually pretty 100% with you guys. You know, our guys have been like that, you know, all year. I mean, they've come in and prepared and worked, and you know, we always talk about our process during the week. Our process has been phenomenal Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every single week. But last week it was awesome, and you know, yesterday and today, this week, I mean, our guys have been locked in. So they're this group of guys, man. They're a special group. They're a blast to work with. I spring out of bed every single day excited to get here because they're really fun to work with.